Hi friends, once again we are meeting together to continue with third topic referred as transistor as an amplifier. In that, in the last period we have studied the different types of power amplifiers, its classification as a class A, class B, class C and class AB. We have studied class A push-pull power amplifier, class B push-pull power amplifier, also class AB push-pull power amplifier, including complementary symmetry power amplifier. Today we are going to study the distortions in amplifier. So let us begin with meaning of distortion which is going to be present in the power amplifier. As far as the definition of distortion is being considered, it is the any type of deviation which is present in the output of the power amplifier but which is not present in the input. Means distortion is totally related with the output of the power amplifier. It is not related with the input of the power amplifier. Basically it is absent in the input signal. Even though it is absent in the input signal, the deviation appears in the output of the power amplifier. So that's what we can call it as the distortion in power amplifier. This deviation arises due to nonlinear characteristics of the active devices which are used in designing the power amplifier. And almost all we are using the power transistors so as to amplify the power level of the input signal, and that transistor possesses the nonlinear characteristics. These nonlinear characteristics of B.Sc-II, especially power B.Sc-II used in power amplifier, is responsible to deviate the signal at the output to be referred as the distortion. In case of voltage amplifier, as it is a small signal amplifier, the distortion is not so significant. But in case of power amplifier, the distortion appearing is totally significant. Basically, this amplifier distortion in power amplifiers are classified into the four types. One is a harmonic distortion, second one is a frequency distortion, third one is a phase distortion, and fourth one is a intermediate frequency distortion. The harmonic distortion is said to be present in the power amplifier provided in the output along with the fundamental frequency, the deviation in fundamental frequency will appear at the output, and these deviation in fundamental frequency which are appearing at the output are called as harmonics of the fundamental frequency. Means, to understand the harmonic distortion, we can say, no doubt that original frequency signal is appearing at the output, but along with that, the deviation in that particular frequency components are also appearing. Those deviated frequency components which are different from the fundamental frequency are called as the harmonics of the fundamental frequency. So distortion appearing in that, it is called as the harmonic distortion. Sometimes it is also going to be referred as the amplitude distortion. Here amplitude of the output signal deviates So that's why it's also to be referred as the amplitude distortion. This distortion arises due to the nonlinear characteristics of active devices. Now, second type of the distortion we classified as a frequency distortion. It is a type of distortion which appears in the output of the power amplifier, and that is, new frequencies are going to be appearing at the output along with the original frequency. So that deviation in original frequency signal appearing at the output is resulting the distortion, and that distortion we can call it as it is the frequency distortion. Next one is the phase distortion. It is a type of distortion which is present in the output of the amplifier, where there is a phase change in the output signal that appears. So that type of distortion we can call it as it is the phase distortion. Fourth type of distortion which we have to introduce, and that is known as intermediate frequency distortion. Friends, intermediate frequency distortion is appearing in the electronic communication, especially in the receiver. In the receiver, it makes use of IF amplifier, and its role is to amplify the intermediate frequency signal which is resulted from the tuner circuitry. If any change in the intermediate frequency that takes place, then we can call it as there is a existence of intermediate frequency distortion. Friends, all these are the types of the distortions which may likely to be appearing in the power amplifier. We are going to study details regarding the harmonic distortion. As we have already introduced that harmonic distortion is a distortion which is said to be present in the output of the amplifier, such that along with the fundamental frequency, new frequency components which are to be referred as the harmonics of the fundamental frequency are appearing in the output of the power amplifier. Then we can say the harmonic distortion is present in the amplifier. To study details of that, we can consider that let Vi equal to V cos of omega t be the input signal that is applied to the power amplifier. It doesn't contain any deviation in the signal. It is the signal required to be amplified, whose power level is to be amplified. So that input signal is represented as Vi is equal to V cos of omega t. Due to this input signal, current flows at the output of the amplifier is I0 equal to A0 plus A1 cos of omega t plus A2 cos of twice omega t plus A3 cos of thrice omega t. Look at here, input contains only Vi is equal to V cos of omega t, but output current constitutes A0. A0, it is fundamental frequency component. A1 cos of omega t, it is first harmonics. A2 cos of tau omega t, it is second harmonics. A3 cos of thrice omega t, it is the third harmonics. A0 is the amplitude of the fundamental frequency. A1 is the amplitude of first harmonic frequency. A2 is the amplitude of second harmonics. A3 is the amplitude of third harmonics, and so on. This constitutes the output current. Due to distortion present in the amplifier, it will shift the position of the operating point on the load line. And we are aware that when the position of the operating point is shifted, naturally the working of power amplifier deviates. Now we are going to determine that particular distortion. This is the current which is going to be appearing in the output of the power amplifier in the form of the components of the frequency or component of the current. Now the distortion due to second harmonics is given as A2 upon A1 into 100%. Obviously, it is in the modulus sign, only positive values are to be considered. Distortion due to the third harmonics is given as A3 upon A1 into 100% and so on. For D4, it is A4 upon A1 into 100. So net distortion or total distortion is given as square root of D2 square plus D3 square plus D4 square plus so on. Now power at the output is given as P is equal to A into RL square A into A1 into RL square upon 2 A1 square upon 2 into RL plus A2 square upon 2 into RL plus A3 square upon 2 into RL. This represents the output power. By taking A1 square RL upon 2 common, this term is to be, when you take it common, we can get it A1 square RL upon 2 into bracket 1 plus A2 upon A1 square plus A3 upon A1 square plus A4 upon A1 square and so on. So what is A2 upon A1? A2 upon A1 is D2, A3 upon A1 is D3 and A4 upon A1 is D4. Putting those values, we can get it P is equal to P1, it is power due to the fundamental frequency, first harmonics, into bracket 1 plus D2 square plus D3 square plus D4 square and so on, where P1 equal to A1 square RL upon 2 is power due to the fundamental frequency. Therefore, net power is given as P is equal to P1 into 1 plus D square. This is because square root of D2 square plus D3 square plus D4 square is equal to D. Therefore, D2 square plus D3 square plus D4 square is equal to D square. So, this is the net power which is developed. So, that represents a deviation or change in the output power. Where D is the total distortion, thus the harmonic distortion is present in the output of the amplifier which is not present in the input. So this is what the details regarding the harmonic distortion. Friends, that's all about the distortion in power amplifier. Thus, here we are completing the third topic known as transistor as an amplifier. Next time we will going to deal with the next topic. As usual, notes will be provided on the group. Test questions are also likely to be put on the WhatsApp group. If you have got any queries, any difficulties, Any doubts regarding this particular topic, in which we have covered the basic action of transistor as an amplifier, its classification. Then we have studied the analysis of common emitter, common base, common collector configuration, their comparisons. Then we have studied FET as a common source amplifier along with its analysis. Then we have introduced the need of multi-stage amplifier. We have studied the DC coupled amplifier, RC coupled amplifier, and also the transformer coupled amplifier, to be referred as a multi-stage amplifiers. Then we have completed the power amplifier, in which we have classified the power amplifiers into the different categories. We have studied the class A push-pull power amplifier, class B push-pull power amplifier, and also class AB push-pull power amplifier along with the complementary symmetry circuit. And today we have covered the distortion in power amplifier, including the crossover distortion, which is likely to be appearing in the class B, and that is removed by using the class B power amplifier. Friends, that's all about the transistor as an amplifier.